Hi parents and guardians, this is Mrs. Frisbee, and today I'm going to be discussing the IEP process with you and what you can expect. In this video, I'm going to be covering acronyms that you should familiarize yourself with. We're going to go over the steps and components of the IEP process. What are the communication expectations from school, teachers, and yourselves during the IEP process? And we're going to discuss the responsibilities the teacher has to uphold during the IEP process. So first, let's discuss the acronyms that you should familiarize yourself with. The first acronym is IEP. IEP stands for Individual Education Program or Plan. It is a written legal document. It acts as a map that lays out the program of special education instruction. It also defines supports, services that a kid may require. IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. IDEA is the nation's special education law. It gives rights and protections to kids with disabilities. It also ensures the rights of parents. It covers them from birth through high school graduation or the age of 21. FAPE, Free Appropriate Public Education. Federal law guarantees the right to a free appropriate public education, or FAPE, to kids with disabilities. That can include kids with learning and thinking differences. And then LRE, Least Restrictive Environment. Least Restrictive Environment refers to a principle allowing children who require special education to remain in their general education classroom setting with other children as much as possible. This is dictated by the severity of the student's abilities and/or disabilities. Okay, so we've discussed the acronyms. Let's go over the IEP process, starting with step 1, the referral process. When concerns arise, you may notice something, a teacher may notice, school personnel, they can initiate what is referred to as the referral process. This is simply a request to have a student evaluated by the school. The referral should be written down, dated, signed, and copied to be submitted to the school's principal, psychologist, and primary teacher. Step 2, evaluation process. The evaluation will measure areas of cognition, academics, and language skills, along with social, emotional, developmental, and medical findings. IDEA specifies that a variety of tools, tests, and strategies must be used when conducting the special education evaluation. At the conclusion of the evaluation, an eligibility IEP meeting will be held. Here, the team decides whether or not the child meets the criteria of special education. It's up to the IEP team to determine eligibility. So step 3, let's discuss eligibility. Special education eligibility is bound by IDEA. Okay, it describes 13 disabilities that make a student eligible. These include autism, blindness, deafness, emotional disturbance, hearing impairment, intellectual disability, speech or language impairment, visual impairment, multiple disabilities, traumatic brain injury, orthopedic impairment, other health impairments, and specific learning disability. There is a little bit of flexibility for the IEP team to determine if a child qualifies. The impact of the disability must create a need for the service. You as a parent have the right to agree or disagree with intervention. If you feel it necessary to disagree, then a mediation or a due process hearing might be held in order to work out differences and to smooth out any concerns. Step 4 is writing up the IEP. The Individualized Education Program is written, it's a legal document, and it must have certain components. Those components include your child's present level of functioning, strengths, weaknesses, abilities, and educational needs, areas of eligibility based on the 13 categories named in IDEA, annual goals and objectives, common core standards, designated instructional services, program placement, accommodations and level of participation in assessments, and a transition plan. When we say designated instructional services, we're referring to any supplemental services that may be required. These services include speech and language therapy, audiology, physical and occupational therapy, vision therapy, mobility, adaptive PE, counseling, psychological services, medical needs, and transportation needs. Remember, as the parent, you have the right to agree or disagree with any of the components that are present in the IEP. Lastly, step 5, the IEP meeting. In the IEP team, it usually involves the special education teacher, your child's primary teacher, and any other general education teachers, the school psychologist and any other specialists, the school administrator, the parent, and the child if they're over the age of 8. The IEP is an opportunity for everyone to come together and voice their concerns, ask questions, bring information to light, and work for the common good of your child. As the parent, you are a vital piece to the IEP team. You know your child best, and if you are concerned with any of the intervention strategies, you can voice your opinions, and your team, your IEP team, should listen to your opinion and take it wholeheartedly because you are their parent. If you still have concerns at the end of the IEP meeting, you are able to schedule a continuation meeting. Do not sign or agree. Don't feel pressure if you are not absolutely sure and confident in your IEP. So if you find it necessary to still discuss and the allotted time has run out, schedule a continuation meeting to voice your concerns. So after the IEP meeting is conducted and established, you can expect some communication. So quarterly progress monitoring should be done by the teachers, and they should communicate with you how your student is doing. What are the areas they're still working on? What are the implementations that they're doing in the classroom to uphold the IEP? There's also an annual review. The annual review process, is to review the progress of your students and reflect the current IEP plan. You can discuss new educational goals, determine any revisions that need to be conducted. Parents, it's important to understand that you do have certain rights that are protected under IDEA. You have the right to obtain an additional evaluation if you do not agree with the initial evaluation done by the school, with no cost to you. You have the right to give or deny consent before the school can take any action. You have the right to participate in meetings related to the identification, evaluation, and placement of your child. Written notices are required prior to any changes that occur during the IEP. They are also required if you have something that is denied. A school is required to give you written notice of the denial. All right, so a teacher has certain responsibilities as well to conduct. So those responsibilities first include confidentiality. Teachers are not supposed to discuss the IEP with anybody outside of the IEP team. It's not something you discuss with colleagues. So teachers are responsible for keeping your students' information confidential. 2, they are responsible for implementing the IEP. They are responsible for communicating what they are doing in their classroom to uphold the IEP as well. They should be communicating openly and freely to the parents to let them know the progression of their student. I hope this video has been very helpful for parents trying to understand the IEP process. If you do have any more concerns or questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you very much.